wanted to give up. That was a battle that I had to go through with myself. But I also always remembered that every battle that I went through will help me for the one goal that I have, which is to play in the Premier League. Because there's no getting away from it. When you play in the Premier League, you're under scrutiny every single moment of the day. Forget the game. When you step off the pitch, you're representing the club that you play for. You're representing your family. So you're always worth unless you're in it. You know, so all the adversity that I went through as a kid, trying to become a footballer, enabled me to be the footballer that I became.
Thank you very much for that. Any other questions? Oh, we got. Oh, come on.
What would you feel like if you didn't score a goal?
Gerard scores more than me, so this might be a question for you.
Well, I feel really happy. I feel like I've done.
If you don't
if I don't score a goal, sometimes I get angry and not happy that I feel like I didn't do my job.
What about you? In the stadium,
for you, it's more if you conceded.
Yeah, because I played in defence, if I conceded a goal, because the competitive edge of me was so big. If I conceded a goal or we lost the game, you know, I always reflected on myself. I always had self-reflection. I was somebody who hated excuses. If I conceded a goal, it was my fault. I would never look at myself and go, oh, it was because I didn't know what foot he was. I didn't know that when he does this, he's going to faint. No, it's my job to know that when I go into the game. So if I conceded a goal, it was my fault. It was my fault. So that's how I like to deal with not scoring a goal or conceding a goal. Would be, I looked at myself first. Would I get angry at times if I had a chance and I missed it? 100% I would. But I'd look forward to the next training session because the training pitch is win.
Brilliant stuff. Dad, any questions?
Yes, I do. I have a question for Anton. Anton, was there, during your academy playing days, was there a time where you thought or doubted that you would make it as a professional footballer? Every kid goes in under nines thinking, this is where I'm going to be, this is my job, and I'm set up for this. Does it come a point, I don't know, maybe as the pitch gets bigger, under 12s, under 13s going, that you now start thinking, am I going to make it, or did you always think, I'm going to be professional?
I always believed I would become a professional footballer. At what level, I never knew, but I always believed I'd become a professional footballer. I understood very early the word sacrifice and knowing what I needed to sacrifice to get opportunities. But was there times where I thought I wasn't going to become a footballer on my journey? 100%. I went through a growth spurt from the age of 13 to 15 and a half. I went through a really big growth spurt, and I went from being one of the best players to probably one of the worst on my team because the growing affected me that much. I was kicking the floor a lot. I wasn't moving right. You know, I was Bambi on ice. I was at the time, and I never thought I was going to get my scholarship at West Ham. So I remember having a conversation with my dad, and through fear, I wanted to give up. You know, I said to my dad, I don't want to play football no more, Dad, because I didn't think I was going to get a scholarship. And he said, like, what do you mean? I said, I don't want to play football. He went, okay, well, if you don't want to play football, what do you want to do? Don't laugh, guys, okay? And I said, Dad, I want to do singing. I don't want to do football no more, I want to do singing. And my dad, I remember it very, very vividly, my dad looked me in the eyes and he went, listen, son, you can do singing after football, but you can't do football after singing. He went, so try football, and if you don't succeed, then singing. You know, and it took me a few minutes to fathom and understand what he was saying to me. But when I got it, I said, you know what, you're right, Dad. And the rest is history.
And if you guys go on Anton's social, sometimes you'll see him doing some R&B renditions. My man's got a few vocals still. I can't lie, you know. Could have been in a boy band for real. But listen, I think. Oh, there's more questions. Yes. Who's the Roman mic?
Who's the most skillful player you played with or against?
Oh.
The most skillful player I've played with, you guys remember Carlos Tevez?
Yes.
Adel Tarak, who played for QPR?
Yes.
If you go on YouTube, there's a reel of Adel Tarak called The Streets Will Never Forget.
You kept not Megan.
Yeah, he was unbelievable.
You're telling me Cristiano Ronaldo is not the most skillful player you played against?
No, I've played with. I'm going to go against. Against Cristiano will be up there. I'm trying to think of a name that you guys will know. There's names that you guys won't know. I'll try and make Pablo Aimar, who played for Argentina. And Benfica. That's deep in the archive. It is. He was unbelievable. Cristiano would have been up there. Wayne Rooney wasn't really skillful, but he knew how to hurt you and would continue to do it. Skillful. JJ Kocher. Oh goodness, JJ Kocher. For me, like, I remember going into the game just thinking about, I grew up in Peckham thinking, if this guy flicks the ball over my head, I won't leave it down when I go back to Peckham. So I remember going to the game thinking, the only thing, I don't care what happens, that just can't happen to me. It can't. So I'd say JJ Kocher.
Brilliant stuff. You guys are making it difficult. Two more questions. We've got to give it to Leo and one of the kids as well.
Hi, sorry Frank, I had to snatch the question. So just growing up, going in as an underline player, obviously there's parents here as well that went through the journey. How did your parents guide you along the journey? Sometimes we go through emotions, we get angry ourselves. You see maybe your kid has good days, bad days, but how would you say through your whole career from underlines that your parents supported you in a way that it encouraged you to keep going?
Before you answer that, I just want to add that Anton's got a son that's actually in the academy system that's doing really well as well. So we can answer that in both perspectives.
I'm actually very glad that you asked that question because I think it's a very, very important question in this day and age. And being around the academy and watching my son play for West Ham, I see a lot of it. And I'm not saying that my parents had the winning formula, but there's two of us that became successful with that formula. And not just that, I've got sisters that are twins who are in performing arts and they're both in the West End. They're both successful in what they do. And my dad used that formula for all of us. My dad didn't know anything about football. He had two left feet, he was terrible, couldn't kick a ball. But my dad very rarely spoke on the sideline. He didn't talk on the sideline. As much as, the only time I ever hear my dad saying my name is if I wasn't working hard enough. Because that's something that he thought he could affect, and that's something that I need in everyday life. So if I wasn't, if it looked like I was ambling or playing within myself, I'd hear my dad, Anton, sort yourself out, and I knew that's what that meant. In terms of tactical and doing this, doing that, my dad didn't say a word. You know, he would allow the coach to coach. You know, because what we have to remember as parents, if we're telling our son or our daughter to do something, that's going to affect every other player on the pitch because it's a team game, it's not individual. So if you're now telling your son or your daughter to do something, that's taking them out of a position that maybe the coach wanted them in to help somebody else in their team. You know, allow the coaches to be coaches and you be the parent. My dad says it all the time. Yes, he's got two successful sons, but the greatest role that he had was just being our parent. You know, and that's what we've done. You know, a lot of his stuff was mental in terms of like as kids, we were never allowed to just win. We had to earn the right to win, because in life, we know as parents, you have to earn the right in anything you do. It's not just given to you, nothing's handed to you, you got to earn the right. So whether we'd be playing snap, or as we got older, we were playing tennis on the wall, or doing a 100-meter sprint, my dad would never ever allow us to win easy. We had to earn it, and that's what he done. He pushed us and challenged us in them ways. You know Ian, because he comes and watches Rio's boys are at Brighton. You know, he's someone who could talk because he's been there and done it, but he's probably the quietest one standing on the sideline. It's worked for him, and he'll continue doing that. And that's my advice to any parent in here who I know and I get that, especially the ones that have played football, because I get like it with my son. I sometimes struggle to curb myself because I've played the game and I've done it. However, I'm not in the pitch with him. He's got to learn to deal with that by himself, and he might not agree, but I like to think in the last 6 months I've curbed it and allowed him to get on with it himself, you know, and after the game, we'll watch the game back, I'll give him pointers, or I'll say to him, you could have done this better, you could have done that better. But like my dad, I've been long-winded here, but I think it's such an important question. My dad never ever allowed me to think that I'd done it. You know, I remember scoring 2 goals in a game. Well, I scored a hat-trick in a game for the youth team. And the manager was waxing lyrical with me in the dressing room. Anton, you were brilliant, you were this, you were that, and I played well. And I got into the car, and my dad went, how do you think you played, honey? And when I always do, if someone asks how you played, they've got a different opinion to you. So I said, yeah, I think I played well. And he went, yeah, you did, but you could have done this, you could have done that, and I want to see more of that next week when you play, and through training this week. And I was thinking, wow, like, does he think I'm rubbish? Like, does he think I'm rubbish? But as only as I got older, I understood. He was just teaching me there's no ceiling to where you want to go. And when you reach a ceiling, you can kick through it. So you're never allowed to rest on my laurels. If you rest on your laurels and you think, oh, I've done it, you're never ever going to get to the next level. And again, that was the mental side of what my dad done. And he done that with my sisters that are twins that had a completely different feel to me and Rio in performing arts.
Kelly.
You know, but it's worked for them, it worked for us. So there must be something in that formula that works.
It's a nice face. How you doing? Go watch our stuff. You guys will come here too to come and play. Wait, I'm just taking a shot. I'll be right back. Yeah?